All right, guys, welcome to CrossFit JST. The Open is upon us. We've got 2 more sleeps, and then we will be starting the 2021 CrossFit Open. So we're doing a little video just to discuss what's changed, what's the same, how do you enter, and kind of the format of the games season for this year. Obviously, with the pandemic around the world, CrossFit have reacted to this, and they want to try and get as many people involved as possible. So I guess the main discussion point to start with is the changes that have been made to try and get as many people involved in the Open as possible. You've got some countries where boxes are open and there's restrictions. You've got some countries where it's just open and they can run the Open as they normally would. And you've got some countries like the UK where CrossFit boxes are not open at all. So CrossFit have been pretty proactive, and they have come up with various things to try and get as many people involved as possible. One of the first things to consider is what we actually need to complete this year's prescribed Open. So the RX Open, the one that you want to do if you want to qualify for the next steps. And they have kind of brought it down from previous years, and all you need to do the full-blown prescribed Open is a dumbbell, a barbell and plates, and I'd imagine that's an infinite amount of weight. If we look back to previous workouts, you might have seen like max lifts and things like that. They've not stated an amount of weight, so I would imagine that you need to have up to max lifts. A plyo box, a jump rope, somewhere to do pull-ups, so a pull-up rig, and some wall space. So we can already start to think about the movements. It's not going to look much different, in my opinion, to what it normally would with the equipment list that we've been given. The only kind of emissions there, what we may have seen in the past, things like rowing machines and rings for ring muscle-ups. But beyond that, wall space, you're thinking probably going to be some wall balls in there, pull-up rig, anything from pull-ups, toes to bar muscle-ups. Your wall space might also be used for handstand push-ups, so they're covering most of the gymnastics movements. Like I said, the only thing that's probably missing is your ring muscle-ups. A jump rope, which is pretty standard. We normally see some double unders in most Opens. A plyo box, so there's going to be a jumping or stepping, which we've seen in previous Opens. And then obviously your barbell and plates for your Olympic lifting variations. And as we've seen for the last few years now, the dumbbell. So straight away, if you're thinking of entering and you don't have any of those things or access to any of those things, then you're going to be pretty stuck because something may come up throughout the 3 weeks that you won't be able to do. So that's the first consideration. Then we look at the divisions. So to kind of combat that, what CrossFit have done is come up with 4 divisions off the top of my head. I'm looking through now. We've got the obviously prescribed division. So that's the one, you know, think of your CrossFit athletes wanting to go to the CrossFit Games. That's what those people are going to be entering to get onto that next stage. We've got the scaled version, as we always see. So if you're kind of fairly new to CrossFit or you've got some limitations, you've got the opportunity to scale workouts and do less range of movement or less weight. We know how CrossFit like to scale things. We've also, for this year, got the foundations and the equipment free. So firstly, talking about the equipment free, so this is probably going to entice a lot of people who are training at home and don't have any equipment. It's the first time they've ever done this, and it's obviously because of the pandemic and because a lot of people are still in lockdown and not able to get to the gym. So the equipment free option is for athletes who cannot access the local gym or prefer to work out at home but lack any of that equipment that we kind of read out on the list above. You can finish the Open also, this is really important and I think really good from CrossFit, you can do any combination of foundations, scaled, prescribed or equipment free. So if you're thinking, well, you know, I've got a bar and I've got a box and I've got a pull-up bar, so I might be able to do the workout. On week 1, you might have everything you need, and then on week 2, it might be something that you've not got. Then that's fine. You can do the prescribed version on week 1, you can do the equipment-free version on week 2, and then on week 3, if it's back to something that you can fit in at home in your home gym, then you can do the prescribed version again. The way that the scoring goes is that any prescribed score beats scaled, scaled beats foundation, and foundation beats equipment free. So you can still get an overall score no matter what you do, which I think is cool, because we've seen it in loads of years where you do 4 out of the 5 workouts prescribed, RX, and then 1 week the ring muscle up comes up that you can't do and you're having to scale the workout. And you've got 2 options. You can either get to the point in the workout and get a score up to the ring muscle ups, or you can scale it and be out of the kind of overall running. So that's really cool that you can pick and choose week to week. And you don't have to, when signing up for the Open, to define whether you're entering the prescribed or the scaled or the foundation or the equipment-free version. So you can almost kind of wait and see what happens with the workouts. And my advice to all our members at JST is going to be week to week, pick the one that you can do. So if you can do prescribed on week 1, don't think, well, I'm going to do all equipment-free from now on. Do the prescribed, and then on week 2, if you have to do equipment-free, do equipment-free and keep going like what. The same goes with the scaling options. Okay. With the new foundations, that's going to be more aimed at people that have not exercised much, very, very new to CrossFit. It's going to be pretty different, I think, whereas normally you've got prescribed and scaled. Scaled is a slightly easier version of prescribed, and then I think they're going to go down the route of the foundations being something a little bit different entirely. So that's kind of the divisions, what we can do. We've also got, guys, the actual divisions, what we've always seen. So you've got your men's and women's category, which goes up to the age of 34. We've got boys and girls 14 to 15, 16 to 17, and then we've got your masters categories 35 to 39, 40 to 44, 45 to 49, 50 to 54, 55 to 59, 60 plus. We've also got adaptive, upper extremity, lower extremity, neuromuscular. They've literally covered absolutely everything. You've got adaptive for seated athletes, with hip function, without hip function. And I think the great thing what CrossFit have done here is there is literally an option for every single person, okay, which I think is brilliant, and hats off to CrossFit for covering all the bases. We've got the usual team version. For the team, and to progress into the quarterfinals and semi-finals, which are essentially the next steps after the Open, you do need to be probably doing the prescribed version. You're not going to get into those top positions if you're doing scaled or foundation or equipment free. So that is definitely something that you need to consider when you're entering, picking teams, etc. So just reading from the Games website, athletes who perform the equipment-free version of the Open events are not eligible to advance to the quarterfinals. Okay, so straight away, if you do an equipment-free one, you can't go into the quarterfinals. But that being said, we know from previous years that getting to that next stage is the top probably 1% or 0.5% anyway. But yeah, if you're an athlete who usually does pretty well, but you can't get in the box for whatever reason, then if you do equipment-free version, you can't get to the next step, which is the quarterfinals this year. For the Affiliate Cup, someone can correct me if I'm wrong on this in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that, as always, if you've got a team of 20 athletes and one of your athletes does scaled, prescribed version, gets a really good score, they can contribute that score even if they then do equipment-free version for workouts 2 and 3. The other big change, obviously, it's just a 3-week Open this year rather than the usual 5 weeks, which I think is brilliant. And anyone who's done the Open before, it does get super draining by the time you get to weeks 4 and 5, especially if you end up repeating a few workouts. And I've seen athletes get injured and ill throughout those kind of back end, tail end of the Open. So for a lot of people, 3 weeks is a good number of weeks. It gives a rounded test, but also it's not quite as savage as the 5 consecutive weeks. We've got the continent boundaries. So you've got North America, Europe, Oceania, Asia, South America, Africa. That's something that we've seen previous years. That's not really changed. A little bit more now about the quarterfinals, so the next step. So this is different. So the 2021 Open will allow more athletes to advance to the next round of competition than any Open history, with the top 10% of individuals, competitors, and 25% of teams per continent. So the top 10% in Europe, for example, which is our region, progress to the quarterfinals. The top quarter of teams progress to the to the quarterfinals, which is good because it gives a lot more people the opportunity to kind of reach that next stage. So it's almost bringing that next stage within a closer touch than it ever has been, if anyone knows how hard it has been in the past to qualify for regionals or the equivalent sanctional event or whatever it's been over the last few years. Advancement will be based on which athletes and teams are ranked highest on the continental leaderboard, so very similar to what I'm used to have the regionals. Athletes who qualify for the quarterfinals will compete in a series of events in their local gyms. So this sounds very much to me like what the age group qualifiers have looked like in the past, and it's over one weekend from Thursday to Monday, which, having worked with some masters athletes, I think it's a great idea. I think it works super, super well, and I'm really happy to see that, to be honest with you. So individual quarterfinal athletes and teams will compete to advance to one of 10 in-person semi-finals hosted by CrossFit partners. So that then brings in the kind of sanctional vibe, which again is good because we do want more people involved, which the quarterfinals do, but the sanctionals have worked really well in increasing athletes' income, making it a little bit more accessible for spectators and things like that. It's been actually really cool, so that's good. The age group online qualifier is going to work very similar. Top 10% of the age group athletes worldwide in each age division. So that's similar to what we've seen. I would say that 10% is going to be a lot more than the kind of 200 athletes that I think it's been in the previous years. So again, opens it up for more people, which is good work from CrossFit. There's cash prizes for the Open, so people winning will get cash prizes. Overall, worldwide, 15 grand, second place 10, third place 7.5, that's in dollars, 6, and then so you've got all the way through to 5th place getting a cash prize, which is cool. Again, for those athletes right at the very, very top of the game. So my individual thoughts on the CrossFit Open. It's simple to enter. You don't have to define what category that you're going to be entering. So that's cool. You can kind of wait till the workouts have been released and you can pick and choose each week to the one that suits you best, which is brilliant and fits in nicely with the current situation that we're in worldwide. There's been some big changes, which I think are for the better. Some of them have obviously been forced by the pandemic, which is cool because it still allows people to get involved. Some of them are just changes that CrossFit have brought in that, again, is really, really good. We've got new divisions, we've got a new title sponsor, and we've got a slightly different format, which is pretty exciting. And I like this idea of the Open, the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and then obviously eventually the games. We've got that equipment list that's going to define whether you can do the prescribed Open or whether you need to do the equipment free. The big question, should I enter? And the question I would ask anyone is why not? And there's loads of reasons why not. You're too unfit, you're not trained properly, your box has been closed for months, you've had no consistency to your training, you're not feeling particularly motivated because of those reasons. But what I would say is there's a lot of reasons why you should do it. Your box or your programmer, if you're following any kind of structured program, will most likely program it on the Fridays anyway. I know we will. Every Friday our members are going to do the Open workout, whichever version they choose, whichever version they're able to do. So for $20, you may as well submit your score. You can get a worldwide placing. You can figure out some of your weaknesses that you may not have known. It's a chance to get involved, and it's the only time in the year to get involved with the CrossFit community. And I know we bang on about that, and it's a bit of a cliche term, but you've got the chance to get involved worldwide. If you meet someone on holiday and they've done CrossFit, you can compare where you finished. It's a common ground for everyone who does CrossFit in the world. It's a test. So when we're trying to achieve anything in fitness, you're supposed to test your fitness, and then from that you subsequently program a plan to get you fitter. Now, so many people don't know where they're at and then try to program blindly and wonder why they don't make any progress. So, you know, when was the last time you tested your fitness? No better rounded test of fitness than the CrossFit Open. Someone else is programming it. It's not your usual programmer. Someone will be thinking in a slightly different way, and it might expose you in different ways to what any other test that you've been doing does or doesn't do. So it's a fantastic opportunity to set up your next 12 months of training off the back of how well or how not so well you do in these Open workouts. So for me, and as a coach, sports scientist, CrossFit programmer, it is probably the most important piece of information. How fit is your athlete? What are the weaknesses? Also, if you're programming your own workouts, you're picking off Instagram, you're looking on YouTube for inspiration and advice and something to work on, it's one less workout a week to worry about. You flick your phone on a Friday morning, you've got a workout there to attack. It's unbiased, you're not going to choose something that you like doing or something that you're good at, and it'll be quite a rounded way to throw a training workout in once a week. And if you're doing it, you might as well enter. It's only 3 weeks, so for me that's massive. If it's 5 weeks, it's stressful, it's a long time, it's a lot of work, there's a chance of overworking yourself, getting too involved, losing sleep, getting injured, becoming obsessed with the leaderboard, etc., etc. You've not got that opportunity for that to happen for as long this year because it's only 3 weeks. There's a massive one for me on why you should do it is there's options for everybody. You've got a bit of an injury, you've not got the right equipment, you've not got the environment that you're normally used to, but there will be an option for you to do, whether it's in your living room, whether it's in your garden, whether it's in your garage. You don't need any equipment. There's not really any excuses on that front because I know loads of people are sat there thinking, well, my box isn't open, so I'm not going to do it. Yeah, but you've been training from home, a lot of you, for the entirety of these lockdowns. It's just another training session and it gives you a chance to figure out exactly where you're actually at. And also, the Open, as we see every year, is a fantastic way to motivate yourself, to improve. People often do incredible things in the Open for like the first muscle up or massive PRs on lifts and things like that. So in my opinion, it's an absolute no-brainer. Get entered, get it done. Anyone who's following CrossFit JST program, we are going to be doing the workouts on Friday anyway. It allows us to have a common ground on a weekly basis. We're doing it on the Friday. We're doing it during the class, the Zoom classes. You might as well enter it, okay? Any discussion points from this, guys? If you've got any question from us, please pop it in the comments. If you like this video, this style of video, bit more talking, bit more of kind of a bloggy type feel to it, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, share our video, and be sure to subscribe for more content in the future. Cheers, guys.